Hi and welcome to my quick review of the Apple iPad Air. So I'll just start out by looking at the screen and work our way around, because obviously I feel that the screen's most important, because that's how you'll be interacting with this touchscreen. So I'll first start by saying this screen is amazing. It's really bright. It's about on par with brightness with my Nexus 7, maybe a bit bright. Well, actually, not maybe, it is brighter. And it's also about the same sharpness. It's hard to distinguish sharpness, particularly with, well, I'm only compared it to the Nexus 7, but it is definitely a lot sharper than when you compare it to the iPad 2s and the like this that you see in the shops. Now, the glare, as you can see, I've got the window open, and you can see there's quite a bit of glare. Now, it's not to say that it puts you off, but obviously you are going to struggle if you're in broad daylight. You might want to find somewhere shady if you're trying to watch a movie. But saying that, the viewing angles, I'll just try and demonstrate them here. And there you can see, this is a great shot of how sharp the screen is. You can see all of this, you can't see any pixels. The viewing angles, as you can see, it doesn't really get washed out, and it is quite decent viewing angles. If you watch the movie with more than one of you, you could easily, if you put it on the stand, you could easily watch at least 2 of you at a time, maybe even 3. So I'll just go and have a quick tour around the iPad. This is just a tour of the actual iPad itself. I'm not going to go in depth into the OS software, because I believe that changes all the time. I don't think you should judge the software on software, because some people prefer Android, some people prefer Apple. So obviously, if you're thinking about getting the Apple, you want to know what the actual iPad feels like, whether you want to get this one or a lower version that's still supported and save a bit of money, or if you want to get the iPad mini for that matter. So I'm just going to talk about the form factor of this, why I like it, and some things I don't like. So I'll start out by saying it is really light. It's stated to be less than half a kilogram online, and it is easily light enough to hold it in one hand. And here you can see I'm wedging it underneath with my palm, and I don't have to put any pressure on the screen with my thumb to keep it up. So which I feel is a really good feature. But the weight of this, it's so easy to use two-handed, and the weight is nice and balanced. So I'll just turn it over a minute. It's nice and balanced. You can feel the weight in the middle. It's got a nice centre of gravity. So we'll go out the notes. So I'll just go a quick look way around. So at the bottom, you've got the charging port, which I'm not sure if you can see, but it is nice. It's got a metal bezel, so you're not going to scratch it too much when you try and charge it when you miss. And then it's got the speaker grills on the bottom, so you've got 2 stereo speakers, and then there is no mic. I cannot see any microphone ports on the bottom. So moving round, you've got the volume rocker. And then this, at the moment, for me, I thought it was orientation, but for me, it's just turning it on silent or not, which I think is great if you don't want notifications bugging you in a meeting or something. Then moving around to the top, you've got the lock button, which is on the very top right, and then the headphone jack, which is on the top left. So you can obviously you can hold, when you hold, which I quite like. I like how phones have gone up to the top. I don't like when it's at the bottom, because if you're trying to watch a movie, the cable is just coming out and it's just annoying when you hold it. So as for the bezels, it's really nice and thin, like iPods normally are. So you've got a nice thin screen bezel on the sides. Then on the edges, it's just right for your fingers. Say you're watching a video in landscape, it's really comfy to hold, and your fingers aren't in any danger. Obviously you have to place them deliberately away, but they aren't in any danger of creeping on the screen. As for the build quality, it's got a nice front-facing camera, and the speakers for that are here, and there's also one at the back, so you've got nice clear stereo sound, which helps when you're on Skype or something and you don't have to shout to be heard, which is always a bonus. And moving around, I'll just say this bezel quickly. I do really like the bezel on this. I'm not sure if you can see it there. It is just there. It's a really thin bezel. It makes it feel a lot more solid build, and you can really feel, or tactile feel, the edges of the screen, so you know when you're getting close to stop, like there. It kind of stops your finger, which is always good. So as for the actual size, I've already gone over the weight. It's really comfy to hold. Are there any bad points to this? Well, the only bad point I can think of it is big. If you are watching the video, you are going to want to put it on a stand, or at least hold it portrait, because it does get heavy after a while. But as for the actual build itself, I do like the matte finish. It's not really going to pick up fingerprints apart from the Apple logo, which, although I do like how it's shiny, I don't think I'd rather it was a bit tougher, because it does like to scratch. Not sure if you can see them, but it has got a few scratches. And as for the top camera, the quality is great, although I do wish they would have had a flash at some point because I think it really is lacking that. But my one gripe with the iPad is the multitasking, and I do find it hard to shut apps. Like I'm trying to shut Notes there, it took me 2 attempts, maybe that's just me being a bit silly. And also, the home button is a rather large click, which does get annoying after a while, but apart from that, it's a great tablet, and I would rate this about a 9 out of 10. So for me, the main things to think about when choosing which iPad to buy, or whether to buy an iPad, is firstly, check the ecosystem. You want to check the apps that you want are on the whatever. So if it's Android or Apple, you want to find out that they're there. Secondly, think about size, because obviously it's harder to expand this. But saying that, there are a lot of cloud storage now, so size isn't really, or storage size isn't that much of an issue. OS wise, it is a lot cleaner than the Nexus. All the apps are so much more polished, which some days makes me a bit sad when I have to go back to my Nexus, because this unfortunately isn't mine. And aside from that, it is really efficient on the battery. You can easily get a few days, but between charges it lasts a lot longer on my Nexus, that's for sure, and the screen is really top. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, ask below. Finally, one thing I will say I have noticed with a few of the Apple products over the years is the little white cable they've been given. It just feels a bit cheaper to me, because here's a little Apple cable I've had from before, and as you can see it's a lot thicker cabling, and maybe that's because I've just picked a generic one out of the box or something, but it does feel a bit cheaper, unless maybe because they could thin it down a lot because it's less stress is going through it, because obviously this is a lot smaller. I don't know, but I just feel it's getting a bit cheaper plastic. What do you think about this? Am I right, or am I just nitpicking?